Welcome to The Explainer. Did you know that the average car buyer overpays by nearly $2,000 on their auto loan? And a lot of the time, they don't even realize it's happening. Well, today, we're pulling back the curtain on the dealership playbook. We're going to show you all the hidden traps and give you a rock-solid plan to avoid them. All right, let's just dive right in with this single most important question you need to ask yourself. Because that big, shiny price you see on the sticker, yeah, that's almost never what you actually end up paying. The whole system is basically designed to steer your attention away from this one simple number. So you've got the sticker price. That's just the starting line, right? The dealer's actual goal is to get that final out-the-door price as high as possible. That's the real number, the total you pay after they've tacked on taxes, title, and a whole maze of fees that are really just there to pad their bottom line. Okay, so let's talk about the place where you're most at risk, the finance and insurance office. You know, the F&I office. You just spent hours, maybe even all day, haggling over the price of the car. You're tired, and then they hand you off to a specialist whose entire job, literally their whole job, is to make the dealership more money on the back end of the deal. So one of the biggest tricks in their playbook is something called dealer reserve. Here's how it works. The dealership goes and gets a loan for you from a bank, let's say at 4% interest. But when they show you the paperwork, it says 6%. What happened to that extra 2%? Well, that's their secret commission, and you're the one paying for it with higher interest for the entire life of the loan. And this just shows you how much it costs. A 2% markup sounds so small, right? But it's not just a few bucks. On a pretty typical car loan, that can easily add up to almost $2,000 in pure interest. That's money that is going straight out of your pocket and into the dealers. Looking at it like this really makes the impact obvious, doesn't it? That first bar, that's the interest you should be paying, the rate the bank actually offered. But that second bar, that's what you end up paying after the dealer's hidden markup. It's a huge jump in the total cost of your car. Now let's talk about a really nasty tactic called yo-yo financing. They make you feel like the deal is done. You sign some initial papers, and you get to drive your new car home. You're excited. But then, a few days later, you get that dreaded call. Oh, sorry, your financing fell through. You'll have to come back and sign a new contract. And guess what? That new contract has a much higher interest rate. They're literally using your love for the new car against you. This right here is a classic move, the packed payment. The dealer knows you're focused on your monthly budget. They'll say, hey, no problem, we can get you to that $450 a month you want. But how are they doing it? Well, they might be stretching your 5-year loan to a 7-year loan, or they might be silently packing in a bunch of overpriced extras. All of it dramatically increases the total price you pay, all while you're focused on that one single misleading monthly number. And back in that F&I office, the profit-making machine doesn't stop with just the loan. Oh no, dealers use this crazy array of fees and add-ons to pump up the out-the-door price. A lot of times, it's with stuff that has little or no real value to you. It's like death by 1,000 paper cuts. They'll start pushing things like extended warranties, gap insurance, VIN etching, right when you're exhausted and just want to get your keys and go home. And these things are often sold at insane markups. For instance, a dealer might try to sell you a $2,000 extended warranty that you could probably buy from your own insurance agent for just a few $100. And listen, it's not just the optional stuff. You have got to watch out for these vague charges on the final bill, things like dealer prep or these ridiculous market adjustments. A lot of the time, they're just profit centers with fancy-sounding names. You have to ask them to explain every single line item. Okay, so that's the playbook. You know what they're going to do. So how do you defend yourself? It's not about being aggressive or getting in a fight. It's just about being prepared. So let's walk through a clear, simple plan to make sure you get a fair deal. Seriously, following these 4 steps completely flips the power dynamic. Step 1, get pre-approved. That means you walk in with a check in your hand, basically. You don't need their financing. Step 2, demand the out-the-door price. That forces them to be transparent. Step 3, don't take the car home until everything is signed. That completely shuts down the yo-yo scam. And finally, step 4, read the contract. I know it's boring, but check those boxes. Amount financed, finance charge. Do they match what you talked about? So the most important thing is to just recognize these red flags. If the salesperson will only talk about the monthly payment, if they're really pushing you to take the car home right now, or if they're just rushing you through the paperwork, these are all giant warning signs. They're using the standard playbook against you. Don't ever be afraid to slow down, take a breath, or even just walk away. So, after all that, what's the big takeaway? what's the one thing you absolutely have to remember? It's really this simple. The whole car buying process is designed to be confusing. It's confusing on purpose, because that confusion creates opportunities for them to make more profit. Your power as a buyer comes from just cutting through all that noise. When you understand their tactics and you insist on a clear, itemized out-the-door price, you're the one in control. So, we'll leave you with this final thought. If a deal is so complicated that you can't really understand it, it's not a deal. It's probably a trap. A good, fair transaction should feel clear and transparent. And if it doesn't, remember, you always have the ultimate power. You can just walk away.